between different men. We know that men who are taller tend to do better in lots of aspects in life. And again, I think there is that sense of, if somebody looks physically dominant, people treat them differently. So that's not necessarily a good thing. And I think maybe moving things online moves away from that, where people feel maybe a subconscious sense of entitlement because they have that domineering presence. So in a way, I mean, it's one of those things where this is always more complicated. It's not as simple as saying this is good or this is bad. There are good and bad aspects to everything. So, like I say, I think in online meetings, it perhaps makes it easier for some of those more marginalised voices to speak up, because they don't have that sense of, in the back of their mind, how somebody might react to them. But like I say, at the same time, the other side of that is we all tend to be, more less considerate of the feelings of those around us. And like I say, it's not as though things were perfect, because I think in-person groups, we're very selective as to whose feelings we consider based on how we perceive that person. There is an unspoken hierarchy there that may or may not correspond to the actual hierarchy. If we're in a situation where there's maybe formal hierarchy, that may be different, but there's also a sort of unspoken, maybe unacknowledged hierarchy, how we treat different people based on, who we think might be most likely to punch us in the face, were we in that hunter-gatherer environment.
I mean, obviously that hierarchy, as you mentioned, pertains to much more than just who's going to punch us in the face, right? It's way more complex.
Oh yeah. But I mean, in a modern sense, it's maybe who might be able to affect our career, or who might be able to sue us for money, or who might have other levers that they can push. So there is obviously much more to it, but I don't think we've lost that sense of that physical presence. But as I say, the online moves us away from that, which again creates a whole new dynamic.
Because the one of the issues you find when there is an issue with the positive side of online interaction, in that more marginalized voices can be heard, then marginalization becomes a power game. And it becomes well, I should speak because I'm more marginalized than you are, right? And then people will have some form of efficacy, and they will exaggerate the position of their marginalization in order to gain power over other people to then speak. And then it becomes another sense of dominance hierarchy. And where I find a real problem is, your point is fantastic, really, in that if you have a room full of people and you have 5 females who are under 5'5", and then everyone else is 7'1", right? Like as you say, the human predication to that is, well, I'm going to sit down, shut up, and I'm going to not speak my point. Whereas those points are, the points of those 5 females are probably more valid, because the other points haven't been undertaken any checks and balances from somebody with a differing opinion, right? So having an online presence can be vastly important in that situation. But I just find that there is a dark side of the human psyche, which is to try and attain advantage. And I don't necessarily mean over other humans, but just personal advantage in a lot of ways.